start by saying that this is a proposal, and there's really two layers of it. Where's the clicker?
We don't.
Oh, yeah, just go ahead and advance it. There's really two layers of it. The layer we're going to really focus on tonight is the programmatic part. There's a facility element. The facility element is really coming next as we form tonight the local planning committee and start charging them with the work of going forward and identifying. So we're not going to really make the focus of tonight's discussion facilities and site issues, but I do think it's important for us as we start to look at the programmatic element and how we see this all starting to fit together as far as the future for our kids. So let me just start with the need. The need is really a dual need. One element of it is an economic emphasis, and that is really something from our community, and it's not unlike other communities like ours around the country, what we call middle skill occupations. There's going to be about 100 million of these occupations that require some type of training but not a bachelor's degree. Regionally, I think we've got significant opportunities here with retirements in advanced manufacturing, in healthcare, biomedical, information technology, banking, and that's also offset by the academic need. As any of the folks that are affiliated with Owensboro High School could talk to you about tonight, college and career readiness is the real standard that's out there. The ACT, the need for making these students ready from the standpoint not only of college, but most experts would agree that career readiness in some cases exceeds college readiness in the requirements of students. We can't talk about test scores tonight, but graduation rate is a major element of the accountability program, and it's going to be an element that will factor into some of the decisions that we make, especially since we are one of the first boards to adopt the dropout age raising from 16 to 18. So I think it's safe to say that the high schools and even our middle school are screaming for the need to have opportunities for students in these type of pathway programs. So we're going to run through sort of a brief history of where these type of programs fit into the scheme in this community for almost the last 100 years. 1929, 1977, this Board of Education actually owned property at 15th and Frederick Street and operated a technical high school, a trade high school. 1977, that was transferred to the state, and that began the operation of two state vocational schools from 77 to 98, one down the street from us here at 15th and Frederica, and the other behind Davis County High School and Southeastern Parkway. Our students were served in those facilities from the late 70s until the 90s. We typically had kind of a group of 7 high schools that all had students that went to these vocational schools as part of their curriculum, took a variety of subjects that were also aligned to the local economy where there were workforce opportunities. And the program worked well, although the high schools still at that time dealt with slot problems where they would only align so many slots for high school students and so many for post-secondary students. We were really beginning in this time period in the 70s and the 90s, we were in a post-secondary world. We had slots to fill, and a lot of times we didn't get enough in the way of spaces for our high school students. In fact, that's really where a lot of the initiative began with trying to create high school, career, and secondary programs. 1998, the Owensboro Community and Technical College was created as part of the secondary or post-secondary reform, and it merged together the vocational schools with the community college, and those two campuses became branch campuses of OCTC, and they offered the same career technical education, again opening it to high school students, and created the Discover College. Dual credit program, still in a post-secondary world. And then, of course, in just a few years ago, various school districts, including this one, the business community, the community college, partnered on community campus, which we'll get into here in just a minute. But let me just look at the data here. The enrollment of high school students in the technical programs at OCTC 10 years ago was 400 plus students. This is 7 area high schools. Okay, 2013, 10 years later, still part of OCTC, but some changes occurred in the way the college began to deliver the credit through some agreements that happened statewide that required students to test out of college-ready college-ready tests. And as a result, fewer students have been eligible to take these programs now that they are, quote, college programs. So you can see the number there from 450 to 150. So you have a significant gap in students that are being served in these post-secondary. And again, these numbers reflect Apollo, Davis County, Hancock County, McLean County, Owensboro Catholic, Whitesville Trinity, 7 high schools. Okay, go ahead. And so this is really where the middle skill jobs come in. So we're putting fewer students in this pipeline, but you can see from the bar graph there, by 2018, this is your 100 million jobs, yet at the same time you're seeing high school and high school dropout opportunities decline significantly. So finding the opportunity to create pathways in these areas is important. And you see the gap here in Owensboro, this 45,000, if we were to be in line with the national average with post-secondary training for all people in adult students or adults in Davis County, you would have 45,000 people trained, and right now we have 35. So there's a 15,000 person gap in trying to fill, and of course that translates to dollars that would have a significant impact if you look at just the earning potential of these additional folks here. With just reaching the state level in post-secondary attainment, it would add about $80 million to our local economy. So there's no question that there's an economic impact in providing this type of access. And so that's where we came together about 3 or 4 years ago in this community campus program. And I think this is the model we want to start with as we start building and expanding career and tech ed here for our students in the Owensboro Public Schools. There is an existing partnership that we have with area high schools and school districts and the community college. Every program is aligned from grade 9 through 14, so it's on a path to that post-secondary education route. And the curriculum is really closely aligned to the regional workforce. When it was created, the plan for this used the Green River Workforce Investment Board's sector strategy report. So there's empirical evidence as far as where the jobs are going to be and how these programs would align to those opportunities in the future. And so they created with this a plan to put several academies in place. One of these academies is the Life Science Academy, which is a program that's right now at the community college. And a program, quite frankly, that I think would be a very good candidate to come in line to a post-secondary or a secondary center that we would create, and that's the biomedical pathway. But we also have plans, and Owensboro High School's had this pathway in the high school that's been part of this program, and that's a health sciences certified nurse assistant program. Okay, so there are 2 programs in this academy that I think we could see within the next couple of years. We also have this STEM Academy, or the Science, Technology, Engineering, more really like an STE Academy, and that would be an advanced manufacturing pathway, an engineering pathway using Project Lead the Way, which we have in our middle school right now, and we have students enrolled that are taking classes at Apollo High School, and then a computer information technology pathway. So 3 programs within this academy. Okay, on to the next one. And then a construction, trade, and energy academy that would focus on construction, mechatronics, which is a program that's at the community college right now, and again would be an opportunity to be a part of the secondary center because it's primarily secondary students that are in this program. and welding, which is another one that is at the community college. The community college has a backlog of demand for those welding labs, and if there were additional space in a secondary center, we would probably be able to fill not only the secondary program, but also all the post-secondary labs, which would be good for our economy. And then entrepreneurship in business, and I think this is one that's got a lot of exciting possibilities, and we've yet to really see this program move ahead, and quite frankly, it's mainly because of the space constraints. Finance and mortgage banking, which would partner very closely with the job opportunities at U.S. Bank for these students, but then also an entrepreneurship pathway, which could provide students that are looking to start businesses some opportunities to grow in that regard. So, the way we'd like to look at this is taking some of the programs that exist right now, some of these community campus programs. We have the biomedical program, which has one teacher that's already funded by Owensboro Health and needs a facility. The facility she's in right now is not adequate and they're looking for opportunities to move that program as we speak. So a science lab and a classroom is the space constraint. The manufacturing pathway would require, and this is a program that the state is piloting. We had several of our local industry folks from this area participate in the development of this pathway. Several of the folks in Hancock County and several of our industries here in Davis County. This is a pathway I think the state would like for us to be one of the first sites to do it. So it would require new staff to do it. It would require a lab and a classroom with not very significant equipment needs. And then a welding program that OCTC could work with us on the instructor if a lab were provided so that they could open up space on their campus to add more post-secondary students in welding. So that would be phase one. If we could begin to move down the road and find the opportunity to start this career and tech effort, we could start with these three programs as soon as possible. We could start them second semester if we could figure out how to do it. So that's the first phase. The second phase would be 4 additional programs. A health sciences pathway, and again, this is an existing teacher that we have in this school system or have had in this school system, would need an additional lab and classroom. A computer information technology pathway, and here again, Dr. Constant's been working with the state on the possibility of seeing this program as a pilot program here. That would be a very lucrative opportunity for students to work in, whether it's healthcare information services or in computer programming or various opportunities within the computer and information technology field. And all that would be needed there would be a computer lab. The mortgage banking program that we talked about, again, we would ideally identify someone willing to step forward and take this program from existing business departments in the area and bring that program together for all high schools involved and launch that. And then the fourth one is the mechatronics. Here again, we could work a partnership with a college. And all this is very preliminary, but it's all stuff that we're in the process of talking about. The mechatronics is an industrial maintenance and industrial pathway that really lines up very well for students that want to work in manufacturing as well. And then the last phase would be 2 additional programs, one in entrepreneurship. And here again, I think we would try to partner and look at existing people that might be interested in moving ahead with this type of program. And then construction, which is another important opportunity program that we would have with the right lab space, and we would have to look at new staff to do that. The other piece of this puzzle is the possibility of putting a Obviously, the way we would structure most of these programs in the traditional vocational technical school model, where students would be at their high school half a day and then they would be in the technical center half a day. We also had a large group from this community that visited one of the new tech schools up in Columbus, Indiana. Chair Eskridge and Kate Lozon were on that trip, along with a Davis County board member and several representatives from various school systems. Helen Mountjoy from the Regional Alliance. We had a whole contingent. Rodney Berry from Public Life Foundation, which one of the grants that we've applied for is through that group. Dr. Constant has kind of spearheaded a couple of these efforts, and I'm gonna let him kind of talk about what New Tech looks like. I think if you go to the next slide, it's going to talk a little bit about New Tech because there's some opportunities that we think we see for our school system and partner school systems in this effort, and also things that we think might be part of an innovation application as we go forward.
As Dr. Bright mentioned, several of us went on this visit, and one of the biggest, I guess, caveats about doing anything like this is establishing that culture of learning that you really want to see in a facility like this. And what New Tech is able to bring is training around frameworks around that culture. It's the kind of the best way I can describe it. You kind of have to see to believe, as the two ladies that went can share, but when you walk into a building like a New Tech Center, you do see the things that are on the screen there. You see kids that are engrossed in project-based learning that are really strictly tied to standards-based instruction, meaning that when the student is ready to move on and has mastered the skill, they have the freedom to do that. And the physical structures in the building actually support that. You will walk down a hall, and to the right will just be a simple conference room that looks like you're walking in a business. You'll see 4 kids sitting around a conference table conferencing about a project. You may see in the next room tables with rollers so that you can easily change the classroom environment to fit whatever need you might have. We walked into a physics classroom where most kids in that building took the physics class, and they were building cardboard boats that had to actually support a person. So that kind of thing is just an ongoing, normal activity that you might see in a building like that. Another New Tech experience is the one-to-one technology. We already have that. That is not going to be a problem for us to implement. That's a major hurdle for a lot of schools, though, but we already have that, so that wouldn't be an issue for us.
And some of our partner districts as well.
Yes, that's right. The other big thing that makes this school different is the integration of an academic-type teacher into the technical environment. For years and years and years, we've been talking this language about how that really has needed to happen. We've tried to create frameworks for it to happen. New Tech's got it right. They will not open a building and not allow you to put the New Tech name with it unless you bring in a contextualized math, science, social studies, English teacher. Meaning the way that they might teach English is very different than from a traditional English class. You will look at the projects the students are doing in the other courses and build the English class around that, the math class around that. There were a team of 2 teachers there that were teaching a math and an English teacher teaching a course together, which I thought was very interesting. So you find all of that creation going on, a lot of teacher-driven, teacher voice in what's being taught, and then a whole lot of student voice in what's being taught. The students had a big say in what went on there. One of the most impressive features that we had about the visit was the student panel. We talked to about 7 students, and I asked before we went if they could find students for us that would mirror the kind of demographic that we have. And I think they did a good job finding those kind of students. By and large, all of them said that their life had been changed by that experience. and that they would never have gone down the road that they're on had it not been for a facility like this.
Many of them, I think, were going to college because
Right.
of this, and they were definitely not college-bound, college-oriented students when they walked in the door.
Absolutely. So the New Tech label, name, partnership gives us the frameworks around what it looks like and how to act and what to expect. And also it gives the teachers involved in the New Tech experience a huge network of people to belong to and with. One of the big things that has to happen if we're a New Tech school is that we affiliate in this network. And so we not only take, but we give. Okay, so we're in this network giving ideas and taking ideas from all kinds of other New Tech sites around the country. So it's really powerful and something that I would highly recommend us to consider.
We've been in dialogue with the state and discussing with the career and tech folks in Frankfort about various options. Obviously, as has been reported, and as I've said, we've discussed with our local superintendent group. We're going to continue to meet. We've been in contact with the college. We envision this community campus being sort of the overlay that we use as the backbone for these programs, wherever we put them, as a way for us to continue to provide these opportunities for our kids. Everything has a 9-14 sequence through Discover College, so the pathway to post-secondary is a part of the conversation. Even though this is a secondary center, one of the innovative things the state is interested in working with us on is the potential to create an integrated secondary, post-secondary center where this can be, and they're looking at a few sites in Kentucky, and I think they have a great interest in this project as being one of the sites that they will identify as one of their demonstration sites. And of course, New Tech Network would work within that, but it wouldn't be the entire thing. It would be a layer of it where students that might want to be there all day could be there all day, but students that want to spend part of the day there and part of the day at their home high school could also have access to all those community campus programs all in one umbrella, and I think it's seamless in that sense. So as I mentioned, we're going to look at this as a part of our innovation model. The innovation model will give us some flexibility in working through funding scenarios and working through several of the scenarios with student attendance and several of the scenarios even potentially with facilities. And so we're going to be talking to you later on in October and subsequent months about that. Again, we see this as a partnership. We see this as a partnership with these area school systems as we've reported. OCTC is very enthusiastically a part of this group. And we've got other colleges, universities through our regional alliance, and of course the business community, and those partners are key. And as I mentioned, Discover College is a big piece. Now, let's touch very quickly, well, I also mentioned this project Lead the Way in our advanced manufacturing pathway. Let's touch very quickly, if we were to, and this is not something that we're going to focus on tonight, nor is it something that will be decided until our local planning committee gets together to begin talking about the process of facilities. But if we were to go forward and as we will propose to the LPC using that property for these programs, phase one that we talked about would focus on 3, maybe 4 programs. Some of them in the main building, some of them in the ancillary motor pool building, science lab, manufacturing lab, welding, a couple of classrooms. So a very small start to that large facility. Then the following phase, the second phase, and I'm not ascribing a year to this. It could be next fall aggressively. I don't know that that's going to work out. So we just say phase 1, 2, and 3 because don't know where it's going to fall on the timeline based on the work of the LPC and based on several other factors that we've got to work through with partnerships with the state and the like. But the second phase could again add more community campus programs to this center, including labs for the health sciences, computers and IT, mechatronics, And then the third phase would be potentially adding a couple of more technical programs in addition to the possibility of a new tech school. So, you know, that's kind of where we are. And again, I wanted the focus to be programmatic because these programs are programs that we have identified and we are starting to work with. By no means are we finished. We've got a lot of work to do with other area superintendents, but also we want to continue to engage the business community. We've had them engaged already, but we want to continue to work through those opportunities. So